Even by American standards, something bizarre is happening in the sweltering heat in front of the Miami courthouse today. Yes, it is a circus where the Trump faithful come to act out their well-rehearsed parts, and a spectacle for an historic trial in which a former president faces charges of espionage while running as president. History will be charging overtime.
Until they see that Biden's lost his mind.
But for all the mockery and theatre, this case also raises a serious question. Does America still have a rule of law that everyone can agree on? Is this a political trial?
It is without a doubt. Let me tell you, being from Nicaragua, it's exactly the same that Daniel Ortega and the Sandinistas did in Nicaragua in 2020.
I believe in him. I think he was a great president.
Trump has golf estates scattered across America like Norman castles, and today he made his way to court from his Miami golf course, not to be confused with Mar-a-Lago, his lavish estate up the road. It is there where he stashed the hundreds of top-secret documents which he took with him from the White House. Some of them bearing nuclear codes or an attack plan for Iran. Many of them piled up in a bathroom like boxes of toiletries. All of them beckoning the question, what did he want with these souvenirs of power? He said it was his right to hamster away the documents, having declassified them. But Trump doesn't really do detail, and he prefers to allude to the bigger picture, that this is a witch hunt, that he is a victim, a political prisoner in waiting.
The ridiculous and baseless indictment of me by the Biden administration's weaponized Department of Injustice will go down as among the most horrific abuses of power in the history of our country. Many people have said that. Democrats have even said it.
Trump is becoming a regular in court. Just 2 months ago, in a Manhattan courtroom, he pleaded not guilty to 34 felony counts of falsifying business records, accused of making hush money payments in a conspiracy to undermine the integrity of the 2016 election. Today, as he did then, Mr. Trump will sit quietly next to his lawyer, glower at the judge until he's permitted to speak. To people who don't know Trump, it is astonishing that he should still try and run for office while fighting to clear his name. But Trump always leans into a fight and wears his shamelessness like body armor. Trump first needs to secure the nomination of the Republican Party, and such is his support amongst the base that the only fellow candidates who've come out to attack him so far for his alleged crimes are the no-hopers.
This is vanity run amok, Anderson. Run amok.
Back in front of the courthouse, the crowd is swelling, the political heat is up. Trump has, after all, called his trial the final battle for the future of America. The true believers will never desert him, but how many are there? I found veteran Trump supporter Brian May, who proves one rule: you should never judge a man by his hat.
I'm a huge Trump supporter, but if it comes out that he did wrong, then he needs to pay like anybody else would pay.
So if he's convicted, should he go to jail?
Yes. Yes, he's no better than anybody else.
And would you still vote for him if he's in jail?
No, if he's in jail, I will switch to DeSantis.
If he's convicted here, is that the end of his campaign as far as you're concerned?
I think he's done. If that happens, if he's convicted of any charge, I think he's done.
These are words which should terrify Trump as much as they should reassure what's left of sane America and its friends around the world. Well, Trump does love a motorcade, and here he is in one that was filmed just a few minutes ago. This is heading to the courthouse behind me in downtown Miami. He was, of course, coming from his golf estate inside the confines of the city of Miami. As I said earlier, he's got them everywhere, all over the country, but this is the closest one. And he should now actually be in that courtroom any minute now, and we will see some stills photographs hopefully in the next hour or so before we come off air. Well, earlier I spoke to Florida Republican Joe Budd. He is the founder of the pro-Trump Club 45, a campaign group established here in Florida to help Trump's first presidential run. I began by asking whether he would be okay with the idea of Trump running again, even if he were convicted.
Well, he has a right to run for the presidency. I mean, that doesn't bar him from doing so. And, you know, He's not my first choice in the 2024 election these days, but certainly if he's the Republican nominee, I will fully support him and vote for him.
You would fully support him if he's the nominee, even if he's been convicted of a crime in the court behind me?
Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, in the courts, you know, you have something called jury nullification. A Republican could not get a fair trial in Washington, D.C., and a Democrat is always going to be absolved of any of their issues in Washington, D.C. But that's what will happen here, too. Even if he could get convicted in Washington, D.C., he'll never be convicted in Miami.
But just the idea that you can say someone who's been convicted of a crime in federal court can still run for office and that you would support him, frankly, I think many people around the world would find that absolutely astonishing.
Well, I support him because of his policies. I'm opposed to the policies of the liberal progressive Democrat Party. And I wouldn't have a choice other than to support Donald Trump. Even though I liked what he accomplished, I like what he did.
But who cares
support
about
him.
his policies if he's a convict?
It doesn't matter. If he's the nominee for president of the United States of America, I am going to vote for him 10 times on Sunday over any Democrat that's in the makings of any presidency right now, whether it's Joe Biden or Gavin Newsom or Kamala Harris. I wouldn't vote for any of those.
Just one final question, Joe. The Republicans have always prided themselves on being the party of law and order. What happened to that?
Well, just because he has to face a trial doesn't mean he's going to be convicted. That's law and order. What happened to it? That's a great question. Many Americans are asking that question. What happened to law and order? We've seen the FBI for 5 years refuse to investigate Hunter Biden. Where is law and order in the United States of America? That's the greatest question we need to ask right now.
And if Donald Trump were to be convicted, either in this court or one of the other courts that he's already standing trial or may stand trial in, would you then swing behind Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, for the nomination?
I'm already swinging behind Ron DeSantis for the nomination of president. As I said, but if Donald Trump is the nominee, I will 100% fully support him.
Joe Buck, thank you very much.
Thank you.